Well, I just want to welcome everyone to the 6th Skills Express Academy graduation. My name is Carolyn Bunzendahl, and I represent River Valley Resources in this, I think, fantastic partnership that's been organized and implemented to put on this very important training class. And one reason that I wanted to be part of that partnership is because I really needed it myself. Probably most of you don't know this, but I used to be employed at an orange juice factory. You probably didn't know that, did you? Come on in. Yeah. Well, the only problem was I couldn't concentrate, so I got canned. It's all right, you can laugh, I know. Boo hiss. For those of you who don't know, River Valley Resources is that the Work One Center, and we're the service provider for the Workforce Investment Act, WIA programs, if you will, and for the Impact Employment and Training programs. I do want to introduce my coworkers because they've all been working for this in the background, really hard workers, always doing good, fighting evil, and being the servant leaders that we've taught to be to help those people who come to us for assistance. Amy Smith is, you want to stand up? Amy Smith is our youth coordinator in our office. Erica Owen is our impact coordinator in our office. And Rita Finch does our adult and dislocated worker programs. Thank you. RVR and the Community Education Coalition and the Whitewater Technical Career Center began working. I thought about this last night. I think it was early 2003. We were discussing the need for this particular kind of a course, for a short-term training course to help people who are needing to get either back into the workforce or into the workforce for the first time, or maybe go on to higher education. We knew that this class needed to be available to everyone in the community, not just our WIA clients, not just our impact clients, not just the people preparing for a GED, but for the whole community. So that's why we formed our community partnership, and it's been a really good one. And when Cindy comes up to speak, I'm sure she's going to tell you more about her staff, as Mark will too. So this really is truly a community effort. And you can tell that it's a community effort by looking at page 3 of your program, if you will. And I want to mention all of these people because they have all done this at no charge, which is really how we're operating, is on a shoestring budget. Terry Crummell came one day and talked to us about consumer credit and really gave us lots of good tips and hints. Leslie Jacobs came and talked to us from the Creative Counseling Center, and Leslie is always such a welcome addition because we know it's very stressful when you're out of work and you're looking for work or you're making big changes in your life, and Leslie really gave us some tips on how to handle that. Katrina Griffin, who happens to be here today, and we're so tickled, came from the Small Business Development Center and talked about starting our own businesses. Molly Keener came from CEC to talk about their incubator and how we can get involved in that. Pam Markham from IU East and Brenda Bennett from Ivy Tech helped conduct our tours, and that was very, very valuable. And Sharon Cranfield came from Styles Inn to talk about dressing for success. Then we had lots of other community members who helped us out just this morning doing mock interviews. And those were Cindy Young from Stamp Manufacturing, Connie Chandler from Roots, Connie Lake from the Public Library, Sam Creech from the Dunn Center, Dolphine Day from Carrollton Manor, Brad Wilson from Wilson Lawson Myers Insurance, Kathy Foreman from Fayette Memorial Hospital Immediate Care, Ron Foreman from Service Master, Bob Hoy and his other employees from GM Supercenter, Gilda Lewis from Even Start, and Gilda's with us here today, and Rich Owen from Clark's Greenhouse. So why don't we give all those people a hand even though they're not here. Thank you. As you can see, we have really packed this 2 weeks full of learning activities. And I know it's been really fast-paced for us, but you know, that's what employers are telling us. They want people to be able to work in a fast-paced environment. So we thought we'd just give you a little bit of that up front so you knew what you were getting yourself into. And you've experienced lots and lots of changes in just a short period of time. But remember the saying, there can be change without growth, but there cannot be growth without change. So I hope you feel that these changes have been positive ones and that they're going to prepare you for your next step in your life's journey. I want to introduce to you right now, if I can look at my thing, Mark McCoskey, who's going to just say a few words about their part of the partnership.
Thank you, Carolyn. I just wanted to take a minute to say a couple of words because I've heard so many good things about this class, and first of all, I want to congratulate all of you. I know that you've been working hard and you've done a really good job. So I wanted to take just a second and thank my boss, Mel Ely, is the director of the Career Center back here, and Melissa Hampton has been your instructor, and we're real proud of her. She's new to our staff, and has just done a bang-up job on very short notice on this particular project. So we're really happy with what she's been able to accomplish. I wanted to just say a couple of things. One, that Ben Franklin once said that there was a man that was so learned that he could name a horse in 9 different languages, but he was so ignorant that he bought a cow to ride on. And so a lot of times we're exposed to educational opportunities like you have been, and like most things in life, it's what you do with it, you know, where you go from here with it. In my work experience, in my adult life, I've been a professional photographer's apprentice, a professional musician. I worked in a factory for 5 years. I drove a cab, a dump truck, an ambulance. I was a second lieutenant in an artillery battery, a teacher and administrator. And I know you're thinking I couldn't hold a job, but the last job I held for 36 years, and that's in education. And what I just wanted to share with you about that is that everything is kind of a building process, and if you learn and do your very best and you work your hardest and you put forth some effort, you always carry that on to your next job. And there's a new record out by Rascal Flatts called The Broken Road, and some of you may have heard that, and it talks about the different roads you take in life, and it's a love song, but it also applies, I think, to work and work experiences, and that is every time you have a job, if you do your best and you work hard, you take those skills on with you. And in my particular position, I do a lot of things where I need to have a good ear. I got that from music. I need to have a good eye. I got that from photography, and so forth. And a good work ethic. I got that in the factory. So just, you know, this has been a remarkable class, and I know everybody enjoyed having you here and working with you, and that's probably because you are mature, you are dedicated, and you're trying to make improvements and change and go into new directions. So I just want to applaud your efforts and tell you congratulations, and we're glad you could do this. We're glad we could work with you on this, and thank you and good luck.
Okay, I'd like to introduce next Cindy Bernzot from the Community Education Coalition, and I hope by this time everyone out there knows what the Community Education Coalition is, and you've got a lot more participants now than you did before, and we appreciate everything that they've done for this partnership too. Cindy.
Every time that we've had an Adult Skills Academy, I've gotten to come to the graduation and talk a little bit. That's the only time, unfortunately for me anymore, that I get to get out of the office and see you guys and see what changes that we can make in actually working with people in Connersville. Just a couple notes that I want you to know. A few years ago, the Community Education Coalition didn't exist. And Carolyn just gave you a little quote that said, with growth, there's change. And I think that you need to understand that we are changing. The community is changing. And why is that? Because of people like you, people like Carolyn, people like Mark, people like Milt, and the people like in the back that are going to talk, that are talking about and doing things to make change happen right here. You've done a wonderful job of committing yourselves for the last 2 weeks to make your life better. That's a change on your part. What you can do with that is make a change in your community. Those ideas you're putting down up there, they could happen, but they need everybody to pull together and make them happen. The Community Education Coalition only happened because many, many people put out a lot of effort to make that change happen in the community. As Carolyn made a quote, and as Mark had a quote, it made me think of a quote I have on my wall in my office, and it says, let me think for just a second so I get it right. If the culture doesn't accept the change, it will, it's not even, sorry. Okay, give me 2 seconds because it's on my wall and I have to make sure I say it correctly. If the community doesn't change the culture will eliminate the change. Okay? So if you as a community don't change the way you think and the way you make things happen, the culture of the community will eliminate any change happening. And that, for me, makes me work harder every day because I know that when the CEC started, what we started to do was change the community's culture around education, make it important. Make it important in your life, in your children's lives, in your parents' lives. And only by doing that will we change our entire community to one that's successful in the long term. Again, I congratulate you on completing 2 weeks. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for you, and I hope that it has changed the way maybe you look at continuing your education, getting some additional skills, going back into the workforce. I hope it gives you strength. I hope it gives you power, and that's what we're here for. And please continue to be involved in your community, make great changes for yourself. Congratulations.
Thanks, Cindy, so much. Now I would like to introduce Melissa Hampton, who has been your teacher for these past 2 weeks, and I've had the pleasure of working with her. Hadn't known her before this started, and we just kind of clicked, I think. Melissa's the kind of person who told me up front, yes, she's very flexible. She's been an elementary school teacher. She had to be flexible, but she's proven that over and over, and she's just been a wonderful addition to this Skills Express. Melissa.
I feel honored to have had the opportunity to be part of this celebration. Yes, indeed, it is a celebration. We're celebrating our new beginnings and new paths for our lives. At a time such as this, one could stop and dwell on the negatives, but this group of individuals has chosen to strengthen their skills and to look for other opportunities in the course for their lives. During the past 2 weeks, I, with the help of many others, have shown this group that they are bright individuals with great potential, and this is merely a setback in their lives. This is only a bump in the road, so to speak. For 2 weeks, we've completed more math than some people have ever done in their entire lives. We've shaken out the cobwebs in our head, and we've relearned some of the concepts that we had long forgotten. Some of us learned skills for the very first time. Some of us learned that there's still things that we need to work on. We have practiced writing resumes, cover letters, thank you notes, and paragraphs about our strengths and weaknesses, all with the assumption that these are going to be necessary and relevant in our careers. Along with these skills, we've looked into other options other than rejoining our workforce. We visited IU East and Ivy Tech here in town and learned what going back to college might entail. We looked into starting our own small business and all the things that would be involved in that decision. Our hard work has really paid off. Our average gain for the group in math skills was at least 1 grade level. We had one person who showed an overall improvement of 5.4 grade levels. Another person had a 2.9 grade level improvement just in math skills alone. This is an impressive achievement and should be applauded by the group. So what's in store for this group of people? I'm not clairvoyant. I can't tell you specifically that they're going to go out tomorrow or next week and get a job, but I do know that they're going to be a little more prepared for what's in the job market. They'll be more polished than some of the other candidates, and they'll be more certain of their individual strengths, and they're more able to downplay their weaknesses. So with a great pleasure, I want to introduce to you the graduates of the 2005 Skills Express. I'm going to have them stand at their places as I name off the roles. First person today is not here. I've got several who are not here today. I'll save their names for the end. Joe Durbin is our first person. George Eskridge. Willa Flannery. Helen Frazier. Dixie Friend. Linda Gaddis, Cindy Garion, Debbie Glass, James Job, Lisa Lohr, Denise Mers, Scott Phillips, Mary Weichert, Sandra Wiley, sorry. And we have several people who are on my list who finished most of the Skills Express, but for some reason or another, most of them, I will say, have already gotten their jobs, toot toot. Ashley Davidson is at work today at an orientation, so we'll give her a round of applause. Rhonda McQuinley is also at an orientation for a new job, so we'll give her a round of applause. Scott Phillips is right now, Doug Pavey is right now, sorry Scott, Doug Pavey is right now doing a mock interview and should be with us as soon as he's finished, so we'll give him a round of applause. And Debbie Schneider has gotten horribly sick and will not be able to attend with us today, but we will applaud her efforts as well. This is probably one of the most hard-working groups I have ever seen. I have put them through the ringer and back again. We have done everything from fractions and decimals and percents and algebra that just blew their minds away within the last few weeks. And I want to give them all my applause. Thank you so much for working with me.
Thanks, Melissa. Yes, they did do a lot of math. I'd now like to introduce Bill Kanya, who is the new Executive Director of the Economic Development Group. When Bill first came to town, we met, and I had the pleasure of telling him all the stuff that was going on, if you will, at the Work One office and with River Valley Resources, and said to him right then, you have got to meet graduates when we have our Skills Express Academies. One of Bill's jobs, I know, is to tout our community, to try to get more employers to come to town. And one thing that he has to market is the workforce. And for him, excuse me, for him to know that there are 18 people who have been through a training course like this, who are ready for the job market right now, that just gives him a lot in his pocket to draw out and say, here, here's how people are improving their skills in Connersville. So Bill, if you come up and say a few words to us.
Melissa Hampton, I believe you just motivated me to take a math class. Before I congratulate you, and I have every intention of congratulating you profusely, since everybody else has been quoting philosophers, there's a couple I'd like to quote. Mike Ditka, my favorite philosopher, I think circa 1985, said the will to win means nothing without the will to prepare. And what he meant was everyone has the will to win. I have it, you all have it, you know, my grandson has the will to win. What maybe my grandson doesn't have is the will to prepare to win, which is the first step that you all have taken today. You have prepared yourself to be winners in the global economy. Albert Einstein, one of my heroes, both because he was so smart and because he had really funky hair. Albert Einstein once said that To do something the way you have always done it and to expect a different result is an act of insanity. And I happen to agree with that. If you do things over and over and over again and hope that the result is going to change, you're wasting a lot of time, effort, and energy. We've been asked the things that we need to do to create more jobs. I have 3 things, maybe 4 things to put to that list. The first thing is a new attitude. Second thing is a different attitude. The third thing is change our attitude. And the fourth thing is to make investments in ourselves and investments in our community. We need to adopt an attitude in this community that values education. Because I'm here to tell you that the jobs of the future, forget the jobs of the future, the jobs of today, and the future is today, demand training and education. Congratulations to you. Told you I'd get to it. Congratulations to you. You have taken the first step in securing the training you need. You've taken the first step in the process of lifelong learning. Make no mistake about it. To succeed in today's economy, you will be trained and educated for the rest of your life. Now, I know that I look like a healthy, vibrant 25-year-old, but I'm actually 56. I'm a 56-year-old student. I'm enrolled in a master's degree program out of the University of Oklahoma. And I'm doing it because it will help me as an individual to do my job, to add value to me as an individual to my employer, and my employer demands that we add value to our community. That is what your training... That is what your training and your education does. It adds value to you as a human being. It adds value to your family for your well-being, and it adds significant value to your community. It adds value to your community because nothing is more valuable to us than you as a resource to sell to businesses and to companies who are contemplating opening an operation somewhere in the continental United States. The global economy, the economy that we live in now, will reward one thing and one thing only, and that is competent, educated, trained employees. Manufacturing in the future, and again, I'm not talking about 10 years from now, I'm talking about now. It's happening now. Manufacturing in the future will be significantly different than it is today. In the state of Indiana, we've lost 100,000 manufacturing jobs since the year 2000. In the United States, we've lost 2 million manufacturing jobs since the year 2000. Now, we've lost some of those jobs to China. We've lost some to Mexico. We've lost some to other offshore entities. But do you know where we've really lost those jobs? To technology. In spite of the fact that we've lost 2 million manufacturing jobs in this country, our industrial output is greater today than it was in the year 2000, and that's because technology has replaced people, and technology will continue to replace people because it is the only way that we can compete with China and with India and with other third world industrial concerns. Your steps, the steps you've taken to improve yourselves, set your foot upon the path of that process of lifelong learning. One of the best tools that we have to sell to potential employers is a skilled, trained workforce who is ready to take over and step in and go to work. A skilled workforce who has demonstrated the ability to continue their training so that they will be competitive on into the future. It is you people and your neighbors and your friends and your relatives that will make this community return to prosperity from the place that we are today. As I said, we need to invest in ourselves. We need to make ourselves as a community more livable. We have to make ourselves attractive to young families. We have to make ourselves attractive to people who have the skills that the jobs of the future are going to need, because where those people live, who have those skills, is exactly the place that those jobs are going to go. That's why it's so important for this community and for the efforts that we make for you people to have done what you have done. I support you. I congratulate you. I encourage you to continue down that path of education and training. Ultimately, is the best thing that you could have done for yourselves, for your family, and for your community. Congratulations.
Thanks so much, Bill. And I think everybody else does in the community, that Bill is really a good addition to Connersville and is going to help move us forward. Before we get to Mayor Max, I almost forgot, but not quite. Forgot my sticky notes this morning. I want to thank the graduates, as I know Melissa does too. I don't know if you noticed that Melissa and I are sporting really beautiful corsages, and flowers are my most favorite things, and so I thank every one of you. It was a very sweet thing to do. And I also want to recognize John Pazzi, except that I think this is his assistant, and I'll find out your name later. Thank you. They are taping for cable TV for Channel 3 today. We always love to have them come and tape, because the more we show things about this to the general community, the more people like you will be taking advantage of programs like this and spreading the word. So thank you very much. Also want to recognize Daryl Smith from the News Examiner, is a great friend of ours and always comes and writes really nice stuff, and we appreciate, again, getting the word out. Yes, about the graduates and the wonderful things that you've done this 2 weeks, but about the Skills Express Academy and the partnership and great things happening in Connersville. So thank you very much. Mayor Max is always a great friend to come and help us do this, and we like to let him know the great things that are going on in his city, and for him to join the celebration with us. So Mayor Max, if you'll come up, I'll have you present the certificates. And then as you call their name, they can come up.
It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. Whenever Carolyn calls, I always like to participate in these things. One of the goals that I have as mayor is to promote and encourage education in the city. Just to reiterate one of the things that Bill was saying a while ago, we need to convince the citizens of Connersville that education is the key that unlocks the door. And without education, you're not going to be getting the jobs that are coming into our community that we are working very, very hard to bring into the community. And it's very easy to become lackadaisical about education. It's one of those things that is very easy to put off. But I can't express strongly enough that if you don't do education, get an education for yourself. You need to get an education for your families and for your children. I look out and I see a young one here in the lap of one of our graduates. You're sending a very strong message to, as being adults, most of us are what would be considered adults. We're sending a message to the ones that we're close to and our own family members how important education is to us, so it's always encouraging. I was also fortunate enough to be involved with the Vistion program, and was just blown away by the fact they had a celebration meeting just like this, where they had their families come, and what a wonderful thing it was to look out and see grandparents with grandchildren and mothers with children and fathers with children, and it continues to encourage me. It continues to encourage Bill and Katrina and everybody that is looking to bring good things to Connersville, which we all are. And I just wanted to take a short minute here to congratulate you and thank you. And with that being said, I'd like, as I read your name, if you'll just come right up, and I'd be honored to hand you your certificate. And it's a pleasure to be here. Joseph Durbin. Joseph, congratulations. George Eskridge. George, congratulations. Willa Flannery. Congratulations, Will. Helen Frazier. Helen, congratulations. Dixie Friend. Dixie, thank you so much. Linda Gaddis. Congratulations, Linda. Thanks for bringing the little one. Cindy Guerin. Good job, Cindy. Thank you so much. Thank you. My cousin, Debbie Glass. James Job. Lisa Lohr. Denise Mers. That's what vanity costs you when you don't put your glasses on. Denise, sorry about that. Thank you very much. Doug Pavey. You're never too old, Doug. You and I went to school together, didn't we?
And this one's before,
Good job. Yes, we did. Scott Phillips. Good job, Scott. Thank you for participating. Mary Weichert. Sandra Wiley. And that concludes all that are here. Turn it back over to Carolyn. You want to go ahead and announce these?
Yeah.
Debbie Snyder, who is ill with the flu. Ashley Davidson, who's employed, which is always a wonderful thing. And Rhonda McQuinley, who is employed at Achieva. So we congratulate those that were unable to attend.
I know that Mayor Max has to run because he really fit this in because he has a meeting in Indianapolis. I hope it's to talk to people about bringing more money to town, right?
It is.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, we'll forgive you then. But before he has to leave and before we go on to graduate remarks, I would like all the graduates to come up so we can get a picture of everybody with Mayor Max, okay? Okay, now we have a piece on the agenda before we can eat, and I did tell Max to please grab a sandwich before he goes. We had asked the graduates the other day that after the ceremony or whatever, if you had some comments or whatever you wanted to say, please feel free. I know there is one graduate that we have twisted her arm, and she gratefully agreed to do this. So to start us off, and I really would like for each of you to come up and maybe even tell about your mock interview. I've heard some wonderful stories or whatever you want to say. But first, to kind of get us started off, Cindy, can I call you up to the podium, please? And Cindy has some really, really great news. This is Cindy Guerin, who actually had her interview yesterday. Thanks, Cindy.
First, I'd like to take a moment to thank and tell my children how much I love and appreciate them being here for me today. And I feel like SpongeBob. I had a great experience with my interview yesterday. I hadn't been on an interview in like 13 years. And I got an A+. But it gave me enough confidence, and with this class, I really like to thank Carolyn Bunsadal and Melissa Hampton, and I'm getting nervous now. But it gave me enough confidence today to go put an application in for a manager or assistant manager position at Gas America that's opening up over here in Connersville. And I appreciate Melissa taking all the time she has with me because my math is no good. But I also got applications for everybody that wants one here. They're opening up in Connersville, be a few months, but you can get the application here, but it has to be turned back in over at Rushville, Gas America. So if anybody wants one, I'm here for you.
Oh, you want an application? Okay. Oh, Lisa, let's.
Well, I wanted to thank Melissa and Carolyn again, and also Erica and Amy. I've been to their ears so many times, and Richard Beaver's not in here, but he's an instructor up here, and he teaches my son. But he also helped me with some pointers on my resume, and I wanted to thank him too. But I had my interview today, and it went pretty well. I get there, and the guy's not there. So his boss said, I'll play along. So he gave me an interview. And I wanted to thank GM for doing that. But was GM Super Center, that's what it was. And his name was Dwayne in place of Bob Hoy. And I just about had a sales job. But when I left there, number one rule is don't take anything to eat or drink. I was very good. I didn't drink anything there, but I went out. I was so nervous and so excited that it was over with, but with the positive feedback I got from him, you know, I was feeling good about myself. I dumped my Coke all over my shirt. So I ran into Speedway to take my shirt off and wash it out. And I come out there just laughing. I was just laughing so much. The manager asked me, said, what are you laughing about? So I told him, you know, I spilled my Coke, had a job interview, spilled my Coke. He said, well, you must be from Vistion because I've had some other people in here today that said they were going on interviews. And he said, good luck, I've been there. I said, well, I put my application in here. And he said, he asked me my name. He come back with an application, said, bring this back today. I'm interested. So you never know. But it was nice for the guy to let me take the napkins out of his bin and clean my shirt up. And at my worst, you know, I got a job resume or application. So I want to thank everybody again for all their help.
Well, I really thanks so much for sharing, because that's what it's all about, is sharing those job leads too. And to talk about even better the partnerships and everything, Gilda called me this morning after she had interviewed 2 of our graduates, and both of whom she said did an excellent job. So I can't remember which ones you are, but you guys did an excellent job. Yeah. But out of that also, Gilda was able to recruit possibly somebody for her classes at Even Start. And so we're getting the word out that way too about other opportunities. So it really works by being together and sharing all this stuff. So if nobody has anything further to say, what I say is let's eat. Thank you.